Good afternoon, South Africa. My name is Vuyo Kwala, and today we are here in Ilembe district where we have just launched the Milestones of Freedom. Today is a special day because I'm just interviewing all my bosses. And I've got another boss here next to me, Mr. Michael Currin. Good afternoon, Mr. Currin.
And who's the boss of who? You're my boss, my sister, once we're in the field.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm excited because it's a podcast, vessel of information podcast.
It's Inkezo, you guys.
Well, it's a vessel of information, and I hope that there's all sorts of people who are interested in what you're doing today. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here, and it's really a privilege to be with my colleagues who work in the field and speak to South Africans every day. And you've done an amazing job today here at the college. It's exciting. We're launching the Milestones of Freedom campaign.
We've just launched the KZN leg of the Milestones of Freedom. Can you just tell us, what was your impression? You had a lot of youth here. What was your impression
the
of the
impression was like this. It is just like very emotional because the day started at the gravesite of Chief Albert Lutuli, who was an enormous South African and international leader. You know? And for me it was very emotional because the Milestones of Freedom campaign is coming like when we just suddenly had all these anniversaries with round numbers in 1 year, you know, it's like almost like a miracle, you know, and it was like, for me it was that feeling of just being very humble to think so many people in our country are not proud of our country. They're not proud of things that we've achieved. And when you look at a person like Albert Lutuli today, when we were with Chief Lutuli, and his daughter-in-law was with us, the one who was married, Sisveli Lutuli, Mama Lutuli is married to Chief Albert Lutuli's youngest son. And she was just saying what a humble man he was and how he stood for values. And you know, for me, the thing is, it's that thing that struck me today. Is that while we're so hard about what we've achieved as a country, we forget we've started to make a big change in the way we see each other as a nation and the way we are seen in the world, you know. And with the way Chief Lutuli raised us as a nation is to respect dignity, respect equality, respect human rights, respect women, you know, the things that are common today that we speak about. But this is where it came from, you know. And for me it was very emotional, very humbling. And I mean, the young people clearly, I mean, you see the way they were energy, they were arranging things, they were doing praise poems, they were doing catering, they were doing all the arrangements today. And I mean, what does that show you? It shows you winning people, man, people who can do things, make things happen.
Today you are saying we are here at the Mvolozi TVET College. It was mainly young people that we engaged with. In terms of the struggles of the youth of yesterday to today, what do you think these youth is important for them to take forward as a lesson from the youth of yesterday?
I had a very interesting, like a flash happened to me on Tuesday when I was sitting at the airport coming here, and I was thinking about load shedding 3-4 years ago. And we were sitting there, and I was looking at the statistics now, 400 days without load shedding, and energy availability factor of 85, 88, up to 100. And I was in the meetings with the leadership of Eskom and government before Mr. Ramaphosa became the minister, then when he became the minister. Energy employment factor was like 40, low down. And you know what came in my mind is that we've got to be hopeful. We're not denying that there are challenges. The young people of today have got a lot of challenges. Economic freedom hasn't been realized the way we want it. Our economy just doesn't want to grow, you know. But what I realized today is that if we have a right mindset, if we work as a team, if we work together as South Africans from all backgrounds, with all talents, with all abilities, with all cultural uniqueness, you know, then we can take any challenge and succeed. And that is what we do. If you look at what those leaders faced many years ago, you know, you'd never think you could end a brutal police force, a brutal army state that was terrorizing people in their beds and their families, beating up women and children. You know, you could never think you could defeat that. So if you have the courage and the skills and your focus is right, you know, you stand for dignity, you stand for freedom, you stand for those values, then those are the things we should still do today. So for example, if you're a young person listening here, or you're involved in something and you are not a person that believes that you must help other people be free and equal, then you need to rethink yourself. So for me, the struggles are different, but the values and the behavioral response from us as people need to be the same. We need to have the purpose clear in our mind. None of us want to see young people going hungry. None of us want to see young people out of school and out of work. None of us want to see graduated professionals in our jobs. You know, those are the things that we stand for. So we must make them happen, you know, the way the generations in the past did. They wanted to break down apartheid laws, they wanted to take away dispossession of land, and they did it. And that's for me what I think the struggles are different, but the values and the behavior that drives success are very similar.
In closing, Mr. Currin, we are in a big year this year. We are having the local government elections, and the youth particularly. And as GCIS, we've had the campaign to actually bring on board the youth to make sure that they participate in this democratic process. What would be your message just to encourage them to go out there and make sure that they participate in this process and they get their voices counted, because it's part of our milestones as well?
You know, we had research that we did a while ago. We had a colloquium. It's like all different research that's happening by academic institutions. And I keep saying to people, and I hope young people watching the podcast will say, we agree, is that there's no youth apathy. Young people are not apathetic, like we often say. Is that young people, the research is showing that people want to be involved when they can see that they make a difference. So my view, and that's why I was saying to you guys, I don't know when your podcast goes out, but you've got to make sure by Friday night, tomorrow the 8th, is it the 7th or 8th to 7th, Friday the 7th midnight, the voters roll is closing. So you must make sure you're on your voters roll in the place where you live and your proper address is there and that, so that you can vote on the day. But this is the way you can be involved. You know, if you're involved in your ward committee, if you're involved in the campaign of, say, okay, you know, there's not a litter in my street, or there's no trees in my street, or the drains are blocked in my street, or there's animals walking into the road in my street. Okay, how do we fence this? Who's the owner of this land? You know, if you get involved with those things that are attaching your daily living, and making your daily living better or worse, that's how you can become involved. And that's why you have to be very active and prepared to vote in the election, because that's the place where the absolute point of democracy is realized, where you actually get involved with the local management of your life, you know. And that's why you must, if you voted or if you've registered that, young people must come out in their numbers and vote for the person that they believe can give them the best support in being participants in their community. That's what I really want to hope for, because you see, if you don't take democracy seriously, if you don't believe that, actually, you know what, I can make a difference. I mean, let me give you an example. What happens if 20 people stay away? No, me, I'm not going to go and vote on the day. You might be registered and you decide, hey, I'm not going to go and vote on the day. Let me just sleep in or whatever, you know? And then guess what? You don't go and vote. The candidate you think is poor wins the election by 10 votes. You know, in a local government election, you can win by 5 votes, 1 vote.
The other
so
day
you've got to be in.
To someone and you were saying, by not voting, you actually voted.
You're voting, exactly. You're right. You're right. If you don't do that, you're giving the other person the opportunity to come into office. Or you're not, the other thing you're not doing is you're not showing the person that you have confidence in, that you have confidence in.
Yes.
So when a person, say for example, gets 10,000 votes, right, then he or she knows, hey, you know what, there's 10,000 people here who I need to respect, and I need to show respect that they took their time to vote for me. And that's accountability. It'll make councillors say, hey, you know what, I'm accountable for this. So you cannot let democracy go out of your hand. We didn't fight for years and years, losing people's lives, living through all we lived for just to let democracy go like this. And remember, many people say, me, I'm not involved with politics. But democracy is not only about politics. It's about your life. Where you can move, who you can marry, who you can associate with, what your freedom of movement can be. There's many things that people don't understand. The minute you start giving your freedom away, then people say, oh, I don't like people because of their sexual orientation. I don't like people because of their religion. I don't like people because of their nation. At the end of the day, there's nobody left to like. And you say, hey, well, Now it's only me they don't like because I'm
You
short.
don't like yourself.
Yes, see? So that famous saying about, I say nothing because, they came to those people and I said nothing. That expression, that famous expression, is you have to stand up for your things. You have to stand up for your community. You have to stand for the rights that you have as a person. Because if you give up your rights to somebody else, like a dictator or a big boss in charge, then you mustn't cry when that person says, you know what, I don't like short people. We don't need short people in our country anymore.
There you have it, South Africa.
So go and vote.
The man himself, my boss, Mr. Currin, he said it all. Go out there, make sure you participate in the democratic processes and make sure that you vote and that you actually put them in the struggles that they didn't go in vain. So make sure that you actually play your part.
We owe it to those other people who played their part for us to do our best now.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. It's really exciting time to be here with you young guys. It's very nice to see how you young people have taken this community on its heels. It's very exciting.
Thank you so much,
Sure.
and have a life.
Thank you
safe
so
trip
much.
back.
Sure.
Thanks.